On episode 92 of the Star Wars Reporter podcast, the rebellion begins. We will be discussing the new Andor series that will be premiering on Disney Plus and anything else nerdy and Star Wars we think of. Here we go. Hey, we are back after a 6,000 month hiatus. We are back. Episode 92. We're almost to 100. Can you believe it? Almost 100 episodes of no one watching us. This has been quite the journey.
If my mom likes Star Wars, I'm sure she would watch us, but she doesn't like Star Wars, so.
Wow.
I know.
You can't pick your parents.
No, you can't pick your parents.
What do you do? So for those of you who have just tuning in for the first time or for the 100th time, let me introduce to my partner in crime, one of the scoundrels, Trooper Todd.
Hello there. Hello there. Trying to pull off my Obi-Wan look. Trying to pull that off. And failing miserably.
Well, no, you got it. You just need the the robes. And if you're looking at the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, you need to be a little not confident.
A little more melancholy.
Maybe you just need a tiny girl to tell you what to do.
Exactly. Just don't talk to anyone. Just cut my fish and go home, right?
Steal. Did you notice? I wonder how many times Obi-Wan stole fish. Wow, dark side.
Well, it looked like fish meat, but it looked like some kind of big kind of lizard sand creature sort of thing. But
yeah.
Looked like fish. Yeah.
I guess he was trying to, to feed his pet. It'd be like stealing gas from another car, right? For our car.
Absolutely.
It's all good.
It's all good. Greater good.
So everything. So I'll just, before we get started, I just want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. All the fancy ones are right there. And of course, don't forget to check us out at StarWarsReporter.com for all the news that you don't get from somewhere else. Hey, we do it too. And we're way cooler.
Way cooler.
And if you don't mind, if you could just like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would help us out a lot. It would also help Todd's beard come in.
Yes, it would. Absolutely. My wife would love for my beard to come in.
And that's science. Yeah, my wife really digs my beard, trust me.
Oh, she does she?
Yeah. No. At some point, I'm pretty sure she's going to smother me in my sleep. But I'm telling you that now, so you'll be the witness for later.
My wife did look into upgrading our life insurance, my life insurance policy. So she's buying a lot of stuff that has to do with electricity, and so maybe I think she's trying to shock me so that I'm out of the picture, sort of thing. Maybe, perhaps, who knows? I'm sure she's not.
I have no comment, but I'll try to be a witness for you.
Well, if I somehow pass away in the next couple of weeks due to electrical shock, maybe it wasn't an accident. It was premeditated.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'll hang on a second. I'm going to set this up. So if the title didn't give away, we're going to be looking at the Andor trailer. And
is that what we're doing today? Is that what that sign means on there? Andor? Rebellion.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we'll be looking at this trailer that we finally got, and we'll be kind of going over, the stuff that they gave us that I'm sure all happens in the first episode, right? Because it always seems to be that way. Everything we see in this trailer is going to be a first, maybe second episode.
Well, they did say it'll be a three episode premiere, right? So it's going to launch the first 3 episodes.
It's because they pushed it from August to September. So speculation. I'd rather them slow it down and do it right than, you know what I mean? Like throw out a sloppy something. So no good. It's funny how people are still mad when they delay something like only a month. And even with with movies in the theater, if they're like, "Oh, we have to push it another year," most of the time I'm like, "Cool. If there's something wrong, fix it."
Absolutely, if it's gonna help make the brand better, right? It's all about the branding and all, they don't wanna lose people now, right? Like, you're getting people watching, you're getting people engaged. You don't wanna screw it up now, right? So I
Yeah.
agree. Take your time, like,
I mean,
what's the rush, right?
I know. Relax, everyone. Back in the day, we had to wait way long to get movies and stuff. So
Way longer, way longer. And the thing is, they have to rely. Like people have to rely. I know they want their stuff. They want the. I think people's expectations and demands are just, they want it now, right? So I think that these things take time. It takes a long time to make a movie. It takes a long time to build a series. Like how long have they worked on the series now? I remember watching behind the scenes like over a year ago, right? And we still
yeah,
haven't got it yet, right? I know they
right.
started shooting this before Obi-Wan. And again,
Yes,
I didn't
exactly.
know is it well, this is 18 episodes or 16 episodes? This
That's a good
series.
question. Um, this series, I think it's 16.
Yeah,
We'll have to look
it's
that up.
more than 8 and it's more than 10. So you got to
Mhm.
think that's a lot of content. If every episode's a half hour to 40 minutes, that's like making like 3, 4 movies, right? So like hold on, right? It's gonna
Right.
be, let it breathe. I love the fact that it's not 8 episodes. It's gonna be it's a long,
It's
long
going to be a
series.
real length series. Not to mention, what probably took so long too is they're not using any of the soundstage. Right? It's
That's
all
right.
practical on site.
That's correct. I did read that and heard about that this week. That I mean, I saw that in StarWarsReporter.com.
Right? Wow, that's great. So you and me read that. That's awesome. So
Yes.
so let's watch the trailer, and then we'll watch it first, and we'll go back and we'll kind of
Break it
discuss.
down. Good idea.
We can talk to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here we go. Here's the Andor trailer.
I love the shot. This is like it's
This
so
is
good.
so cool.
Just
Wow.
I love Star Destroyers and showing how big they are. It's just so good.
To
It'd be
steal
so
from the
scary
Empire.
seeing that.
You just walk in like you belong. They're so proud of themselves. So fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house. Cassian Andor. The Empire is choking us so slowly.
Clones.
We're starting not to notice. What I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real? I
Love
need
that
all the
ship.
heroes I can get. For the greater good. Call it what you will. Let's call it war.
Love seeing too. Of course,
There's
Whitaker.
fermenting out there, son. Pockets of fermenting. You're in my net. Are you a fish? Or are you a thief? You're slipping. I'm not slipping. I've just been hiding for too long.
Wow. That's cool. Cool ships.
As long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll
What's her
miss what I'm
name,
really
right?
doing.
What are Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
She's appeared in Rebels quite a bit in season 3.
This is what revolution
Yeah.
looks like. I'm tired of losing.
Oh, troopers.
Look at that.
Like, they always give me a stormtroopers, right? When I see a stormtrooper, count me in, right? Like, I love, like you pointed out like, earlier on. Obviously, maybe that's the early stormtroopers because the masks were definitely different. Like, look more like a clone trooper mask, right?
Well, they have to definitely be clone troopers.
That's a lot of clones. That's a lot of clones.
Slowly.
Oops.
That's not a clone, that's for sure.
I mean, these are.
It's choking us so slowly.
It's hard because you can't do it frame by frame. They're definitely different, but look at the eyepiece. The one that comes after this one, it's hard to see, but if you can, Yeah, you're not gonna do it frame by frame, but it'd be interesting. This look like like maybe early prototypes. See, that doesn't look like Clone Trooper one to me. But
Because you like they have to be clone troopers,
why
or
do they have
like
to be clone? It's a lot of clones.
it's just kind of like, I mean, how? God, I have to look that up. How long before? Because Rogue
Rogue
One
One
was five
happens right.
years.
No,
Oh
Rogue
no, it
One leads
happens.
right into A New Hope. Like
Right,
Rogue One ends, it goes right into New Hope, right?
right.
So it's not 5 years; it's right into that story.
I'm just wondering how long the clones lasted before they were phased out.
I
Like
think
that is a lot of clones.
that's a lot of clones. But maybe it's looking back in the past when the Empire first started taking over. Who knows? Like
Yeah,
there could be a lot of time period building up to what it is, right? Who knows, right? So, but
right. And then if you look at other shots too, there's stormtroopers that look like stormtroopers,
yes,
like the ones that we know, and but these ones look different.
yeah, but
Like
they don't look
his
exactly
face.
like clone troopers either. I think it's in between a clone trooper and a stormtrooper is what they look like to me. Kind of that like if you look at the Bad Batch, right? The Bad Batch they don't have just clone. It's kind of mutating into what the
Right,
stormtrooper is, right? So
right.
that's what it looks like to me more, but it's hard to see because it is blurry. It has all that bokeh effect on it, right? But like just watching this trailer again is only my second time watching it. Just wow. Like definitely gives off a James Bond feeling, is what I
Right.
feel like, right? Like more spy, secrecy, infiltrating sort of thing. That kind of feel over space western sort of thing, like most other Star Wars, right?
Right, because the last two series that we looked at, well, not Obi-Wan, but uh, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett for sure were like Western. Obi-Wan was something different. This feels like Rogue One,
Yeah.
and I love Rogue One.
Rogue One is a very, very strong film in the Star Wars cinematic experience, right? Like it's one of the top. We did a breakdown of every film, and we all thought Rogue One was one of the top three films, top four films, right?
And I think it's Disney's best Star Wars movie so far.
Oh, bar none, bar
Way,
none.
way better.
I would, yeah. If it comes to Star Wars movie, I'd say it's Rogue One for sure. From there, I'd probably say for me, it's like probably Force Awakens slash Solo. I still think Solo was
Right.
not a terrible movie. Like but Solo gave off when you watch the trailer. It looks like a heist. It feels like a heist film, right?
Yeah.
This is definitely spy thriller type kind of feeling to it for sure.
Do you know what I think would have saved Solo as a movie is if it wasn't Solo and it was just a bunch of scoundrels in the galaxy led by Woody Harrelson,
Hmm.
um, doing a big heist and then having the Kira thing somehow, whatever, bringing
Yeah,
I forget what they're called, the sons. Anyways, the
yeah.
gangsters in there. That would have been a
Crimson Dawn.
fun. Yes, it would have been a fun heist movie in the Star Wars universe. But
Yeah.
because so many people were upset about the Solo part, it just, well, aside from that and The Last Jedi, it kind of hurt that film, and it really shouldn't have hurt that film.
It hurt the film and hurt the brand. Absolutely, I
Yeah.
agree 100%. So, but Andor, right? So,
Yes.
like, even like the beginning, obviously, there's they're introducing a new character who obviously seems like um what so obviously somebody a lower class person or possibly more of a wild like an uncivilized culture maybe sort of thing that's kind of walking in on something maybe right like what I'm saying like a not like an undeveloped culture sort of thing, right?
Right, kind of like this small planet. Well, it
Yes,
seems to me that they're using this planet like in Star Wars Rebels, right?
yeah.
They're setting up a base on this farming planet and just abusing its resources to make
Exactly.
ships.
That's what it looks like. And it looks like these people look like they don't have starships. They don't have anything. What it looks like. They look like totally foreign. Like they don't know like they just look like they're not primitive, but I think primitive in the scope of technology and what they have access to, they're very primitive compared to like what they're seeing this big huge starship. Again, that's the sense I get when I look at it. Because everything looks kind of although they do have a rifle. There's a rifle that I know somebody in our talk about how it looked like AK-47 sort of
That
thing.
was
But
me.
yeah.
Because it's so funny. I'll find that picture because what I think this planet is maybe like an outer rim planet. Or you remember that one planet that the Mandalorian was on where they fought the Walker?
Yeah,
So there's some
yeah.
technology they have, but the picture, I just thought it was so funny. Oh, did I not upload it?
But that's a good example of a society or a planet where they were behind in technology, right? 'Cause they didn't have
Right.
like Ewoks didn't have blasters; they they had spears, right? So,
Yes.
I imagine that not the whole galaxy is on the like you said, outer rim, right? Like, that to me looks like a less advanced blaster, right?
But yeah,
Opposed to
I didn't upload the picture I have of an actual AK-47, and it is what it is. I just thought it almost felt like lazy prop work. It was like, grab this AK-47, they painted it. It even has the curved clip in the bottom for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird that they make it so close. I know other weapons are based off. I agree with you 100% when I first glance. But the thing that makes me really look at that shot, if you go back to that shot, Steve, you look at the house behind him,
Yeah.
wood, right? So
Oh yeah,
I'm saying
definitely.
the hut. So like that's why I'm thinking. Like, look at their clothing, right?
Mhm.
Nothing. So it just to me, everything just says it's more um basic technology for this where these planet they're there mining things. So I think that person walking on and she it shows the shoes and the shoes are tied up as like leather tied up, right? So I think it's
Yeah.
somebody from this primitive planet who's actually you know jumping in these potential rebel people, and which is kind of a neat kind of storyline, right? Even
Like
if that
I think this is Andor. I think
was
he's
a
on
kid.
as a kid, and
Oh,
I think he's checking it out. Where
oh,
did I have it?
dude. Which would make sense too with the whole flashback with the clone things too. It's like a flashback is early. That makes total sense, Steve.
Because that's what he's saying, right? So he
Yes,
actually
I
makes
walked
it
right
like
in.
right here. He walks
Yeah,
in, and it's somehow he basically this is his way off the planet, or I don't know if this is him infiltrating or if he's
or he
a
just
part
got
of
raised
them.
in the Empire. He just got raised. So he got raised. He got raised in the Empire world because he jumped
Right,
in, and so maybe just if like I didn't notice this before. There's a dead body on the ground on the feet shot when he's walking. There's a dead body in the background, or a body on the ground
oh,
unconscious.
is there?
What the foot shot? Go right before it. I didn't notice this at all before. I was so busy watching the feet. But then when it's frozen frame, so yeah, right there. See, if you keep
Right
going,
there.
you'll see there's somebody's face. That's their body. Right there. See, it's a body.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even notice that before. So obviously, maybe somebody was in there and did some damage. And this is obviously, I think, it's an Empire, Imperial ship or something, right? So maybe that's what
Right,
it was. He walked on, and said, "I'm going to infiltrate." Blah blah blah. He grew up in the Empire, and then who knows, right? But that makes a lot of sense. Even look at the clothing here, right? The clothing is kind of pivotal to the shoulder sort of thing. So I think
right.
I think what you're saying, the clone trooper. I think this is a clone trooper slash stormtrooper situation. But who knows?
And it's funny, the whole underlying from our day of the old trilogy and everything, the easiest villain archetype are like the Nazis. I mean, clearly look at this. I mean, she looks like just like
Eh,
all the officers look like
And
Nazi
well, that's what
officers.
I think that's what George Lucas based the whole entire empire
Oh,
off of, isn't it?
definitely.
Obviously, even when it comes to the logo, I know the logo doesn't look anything like their logo, but it's definitely a sign that they follow and sort of thing, right? So, and quite frankly, until the end of time, Nazis will always be known as the bad guys, right? Like, you know what
It's
I'm
the
saying? Like,
easiest bad guy to
easiest.
do because there's not one person that could have a problem with it, or same person that could have a problem with it. It's universal. You're like,
It's
oh, those are
universal,
the bad
yes.
guys, and it's in your head. I think at
Yeah,
this point it's hardwired in us somehow.
like
So
even if you've never seen a Star Wars movie before, this is your first trailer you've ever seen. You look at this lady going, you know what? She's a bad guy. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
You just know by the look. It's the uniform. It's the stormtroopers beside them. Like didn't they call German army people stormtroopers too? Like you know what I'm saying?
the
Like
stormtroopers. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's like everything just rolls into one. Like by looking at the unit. But that's what's so great with the costumes. You don't even have to watch anything else before. You just know that's a bad person.
You know what's going on, and you see the stormtroopers behind her here.
Hmm.
They look different than I
The
have
ones in the
a
march.
picture. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
like
totally
this one
different.
here.
Totally different.
So Jen was here. She could straighten us out on the generations of the stormtrooper helmets. I guess we should do more of a research. We should look into that.
We should.
Um,
But
but
it's to me, it's a very unique looking helmet. Like I really think I'm sure if we pulled up something from the Bad Batch in the early stormtrooper outfits, I'm pretty sure that helmet will match up closer to it.
Yeah, a couple of them the Bad Batch. It was kind of like that next generation that was coming in
Yeah, and I
that
love
they did. Yeah,
yeah, that stormtrooper here looks like this guy, like this. What is he called? I have a nice little. I don't know if you have this one yet, Steve, but that's that stormtrooper right there.
the Death Trooper, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Death Trooper. Yeah, but that's clearly what
Ooh.
what those stormtroopers are.
Those guys are, and they're like the tall ones, and they seem to be like the bodyguards to
Yeah,
like people like her or
the important guys. Yeah,
Krennic.
yeah,
Yes. You know what I mean? Like not everyone gets their own Death Troopers. And like someone was saying, even like Darth Vader would get them. I'm thinking, Darth Vader doesn't need. He only needs the white suited
yeah.
normal guys because
The
they don't.
pawns.
They're not going to do anything better than him, anyways. You know what I mean? It's like
Quite
he can just take
frankly,
on everyone.
he would probably just sacrifice them anyway, right? He doesn't care. Like what the
Yeah.
Vader, he doesn't care about is they're just pawns, right? They send them in. They don't care how many get wiped out. They beat people with numbers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Um,
Everybody's expendable, right? Everybody's expendable to Darth, right? So
yeah. This is just like I mean, and it's looking like the first one or two episodes, right? They're going to trick us.
yeah,
But
I
this
love this.
whole look here.
I love this character already. I have no idea who she is, but I
Yeah.
love her. She just looks so mean and so nasty. And you know me, villains are everything. If you don't have a good villain, you got nothing.
Hey, did you notice first of all my shirt that I'm wearing?
Ooh,
Hang on a second. And I have to make a statement about this. I'm
very nice.
still Luke Skywalker and the
Oh, come
Rebels,
on.
but how could I pass up this shirt?
That's a great shirt. I've never seen that shirt before. It's a great shirt. Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters. What's on the other
Lightsabers
side?
out.
What's on the other side of the shirt? No, the other side. The other side. Oh, more Star Destroyers. Oh, and a Walker. That's a gorgeous looking shirt. A gorgeous looking
So
shirt.
so yeah, I think it's my real only Darth Vader shirt. So it goes along with my Darth Vader lamp from when I was a kid. So
And just for
I
the record, I remember me and Steve, again, you might have heard this. Me and Steve were friends back when we were 5 years old. I
five.
remember seeing that. We used to hang out all the time, and I remember seeing that cool Darth Vader, and it's so neat. What 40 years later? 40 years, or probably
40, probably
45 years
45
later?
years later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
boom,
got
there
it
it is
at
again.
a local auction. Yeah.
Yeah,
So very, very cool. But hey, in this scene here, I've said this a million times. No one does scenery better than Star Wars. Even the junkyard. Look how good that looks.
Steve, one thing I noticed when we're watching the trailer again tonight, like you commented when we're watching all the series, right? How they have these wide shots and just show the scenery. How many shots they have here? Tons, right? There's so many of these beautiful picturesque shots where they're setting the mood, setting the tone. Even this shot, right? The nice little
This
cavern
ship
shot.
is so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So beautiful.
I love the
Yeah.
cockpit. I love that round kind of cylinder cockpit similar to the Millennium Falcon, right? And Scott, I can't remember Skarsgård. That's the
Yes.
father. He's from the Thor
Yes.
movies. I love him.
He is awesome. And I guess we see him in the cockpit of his ship, and it's
Yeah,
so cool. It's like Empire looking. We have my favorite, the X-wing,
yeah, the early X-wing too,
early
eh?
X-wing, or the X-wing, and then of course, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah. And I think I knew that Saw was going to be in it anyway. Saw Gerrera, and here he is, this guy here, before his death. So, um,
Oh, it looks so good.
seeing. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to see. I'm just, sorry. It's just a little thing for me. Like all these guns. See this gun here? They got the
Yeah,
clips. They look
yeah,
like our guns that we have here. And it's just
very.
my thing, right? Like we talked about this before. I don't want our world in Star Wars. I want weird fashion, even if it's campy. I want no politics other than the Empire versus the Rebellion. I guess
Yeah,
that's politics, I guess.
yeah.
Um, and then of course all the prequels were politics sort of, but it was different. It wasn't like I don't want to see the evil leader being an orange skinned guy with weird hair. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
I don't want that
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know
thing being
I know who you're
portrayed.
talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yes.
I'm like, I don't want a Trump person in this movie. Friggin' just like, let's have this way in a galaxy far, far away. But
I
it
do agree
was,
that a lot of the blasters look really like Earthish for sure.
yeah.
Like
And
because
then of
you
course you
look at
got
Star Wars, there's a lot of stuff that don't like. Some of them I don't like. Some of the small blasters I don't like too much, but
yeah,
I definitely think those things don't look like blasters. They look like they shoot ammunition, right? Where hey,
yeah, like bullets.
the stormtrooper's gun has a clip on the side, and I have no problem with that. It doesn't look like an
Right.
Earth gun, though. You know what I'm saying? Even
Yeah,
there's a debate we had with somebody offline, off the show, with somebody. He said how Han Solo's gun was patterned after the German gun.
the German gun.
Yeah, but it doesn't look. Han Solo's gun looks like it belongs in the Star Wars universe. It doesn't look like it's ever been made on Earth. You know what I'm saying? I don't
And that
see
was
that.
the one picture, but Han Solo, like later they had like the scope on it. It,
Yeah.
it looked very different.
Totally different, where it doesn't look like it was from Earth, right? It wouldn't operate on Earth, right? So, yeah, I just like that. Like one thing about the Disney Star Wars, the sequel trilogy. Like I thought the First Order blasters looked like plastic. It's like they're all white and black sort of thing. They just looked like plastic. They weren't
Very different.
banged up and scuffed up. I like the scuffed look more than the polished look, right? So
Yeah, yeah, they were very, very clean. I guess the stormtroopers were, but with their blasters, it was, you know what I mean, like the
yeah,
black, and it looked different. And most every weapon, except for spears with the Ewoks that we have here, obviously, everything looked so different and weird. And like Princess Leia always had like the tiny weird gun. Padme, you know what I mean, things like
yeah.
that. Han
But
Solo's gun,
it looked like I didn't like the Naboo guns because just everything was all silver and kind of stuff. But Princess Leia's gun
right?
even looked like it had tape on the end of it, right? It just looked like it had
Yeah.
tape to hold together at the end of it. I just like that look of it, right? So, but yeah, but again, so yeah, but seeing Forrest Whitaker, that character, I can't remember the character's name from Rogue One, but it's so nice to see him back.
Guerrera, yeah,
And question for you, he was in Rebels too, right? This character was in Rebels, right?
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
he's the one. He was going all kind of is in season 3, kind of going all crazy sort of thing. It was, yeah, he was. Yeah, I thought it was him. It looked like him
So,
anyway.
so do you notice it here? If you look at him and then remember him, I forgot to get a picture in Rogue One. I don't know yet. I guess I should have researched this. How long this was before we see him in Rogue One again? Because in Rogue One, he is a mess, right?
He's a
He's
mess.
all beat up. He's got the breather.
Oxygen, yeah.
He's
He's
like
a little healthier here,
talking all crazy, and
but
his
he's
hair's
damaged goods.
longer.
Like even in Rebels, the character's damaged goods. He's
Oh
like
yeah.
post traumatic stress. This guy's suffering from big time.
He's also a lesson of, you know, when you have good intentions that go too far.
Yeah,
His
absolutely.
story was the story of that, was going
Yeah,
too
too
far.
far.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's what it was. Over the little bug creatures on Geonosis that had they had the queen egg and stuff, that he was trying to get the bug to find information about what the Empire was building, sort of thing. That's what it was.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he was trying to wipe out the bug. The bug, wiped out his family and stuff like that. So
Rebels is so good, man.
Rebels is still, I'm back into it, and it's like, it's so good. And so
This
look at that.
this I thought was interesting. Like, where is it? Like these guys here, really interesting. Like they're kind of going for that whole, because I think we saw a little bit of this happening in the Bad Batch, right? Where the Empire takeover just wasn't smooth. People started to wake up and realize
Yeah,
what was going on. So we
they're
see
not good. Yeah.
people are rioting. But I watched a podcast somewhere else, and they were like, the Empire would have just shot these people. Why are they sitting there without weapons, letting this guy do that? you know, like, but it was a nice run. Look at him
My guess
bouncing
is
into that.
this is probably the primitive people. My guess, this is what happened before, and then they have those stormtroopers walk in. Is my guess,
Right, because they're all
right?
fighting.
Yeah,
And look at that, the drop ships,
the
the
drop ships. So this looks like, back in the past, right after, right? Like, so obviously this is going to cover some time period. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, yeah, we might see stuff when what's his name, when Andor is young, right? So, and I'm not sure how, like, scientists maybe all this guy here is
Look how
like the
old school those
corrupt
outfits
people,
look too, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like those aren't Empire people, right? They don't look like Empire
right?
people at all. So they're probably, yeah. Who knows, right? It's so cool.
Well, they could be like governors, or they could be just like in charge of, say, like these miners, or like the
Yeah,
shipyards where they're breaking them down. Hey, and there's alien there even. Look at that.
yeah.
We get to
But
see
now,
an alien. Like, look at that. That is
yeah.
so nice. This is
Again,
on
this is the
Coruscant,
whole.
right?
This is the whole thing you talk about every show we're watching is how it's showing the environment. But again, it doesn't look fake. It doesn't look real. It just makes you really buy into the environment, right? Look at that. It's so
Like,
clean,
it's
so good.
just nice. You believe those buildings are there, and that. Look at
Yeah.
that. So you got the Imperial shuttle coming in. Again, it looks like, see the planet? They've just turned this what probably was a nice planet, more primitive than the rest of the universe, or of the galaxy that the Empire's in, and they
Just
just destroyed it,
bleeding it,
right?
bleeding it. Yeah, bleeding it.
Kind of looks like Corellia, where it's
So,
just like a mess.
yeah, here's this woman again. Just I don't know who she is, but I like her.
But she's got like the Krennic white suit. I
Yeah.
never realized how many of the Imperials, because I think even in A New Hope, I saw someone wearing a white suit. I thought they were all like the dark gray or
Yeah,
charcoal.
I remember the dark gray, the charcoal ones. The only time I saw that color suit is in Rogue One. I
Yeah.
don't remember seeing the white suits anywhere else but the Rogue One.
So again, it's like the beginning, right? So it might all just start in a small place, right? Like this planet where it's kind of, I find this interesting. This part here, it's showing the past where this character, we see him, it looks like, he's got the short hair now. It looks like he's gathering people for this rebellion, and
Hmm.
he is like a conflicted senator, it looks like, right? He's got to
Yeah,
put on the appearances at these parties,
exactly.
like,
Sell it. Yeah,
hey, how's it
exactly. Hey,
going?
look, everything's good. Everything's great. Yeah, yeah. The
here's
Empire's
my
bringing prosperity.
here's my guess with Mon Matha. I'm wondering if she is into it, like she just, like, nothing, she doesn't see anything yet, and she's the politician, and that she gets pulled in by him. Oh, this
Oh,
this this
the
cockpit.
cockpit. Yeah, look at that, eh?
I'm just wondering if she gets pulled in by him, and she starts, because there's scenes where, all these things are, look at these battles, the ships. There's a scene where she's, okay, so they're in here. The Senate looks really different. Like, I thought there was more light in the prequels and stuff. It doesn't look like
It
probably
looks very
anything's
similar.
getting done. And you got the
Yeah,
Imperial symbol here. And I
yeah.
think that we might see her story going, wait a minute, this isn't right. She's
Hmm.
even talking to, this is Valorum, right? The Chancellor before he was ousted. I could be wrong. It
Oh, it
looks like
doesn't. It
the
doesn't
same
look.
kind of
No.
actor.
Well, it could be the same kind of actor, but no. But he was Cheddar Vaughn was wiped out in
Oh, was
the
he killed
prequels.
in the
No,
prequels?
no, he
Okay.
wasn't killed. He was, but he would have much. He'd be dead. Like he'd be so much older.
Right. So I
Well,
just look
maybe
at
not.
this, and she might be like starting, like, if you see her here, she looks conflicted, and
Hmm.
maybe her story is coming, like, following this guy. Like, yeah, he brings her in, she realizes the Empire's bad, and she's living this good life when the Empire is like, the people are not, and maybe Skarsgård dies, and she takes over that, right?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
becomes the leader of this rebellion. So
The crying.
it's
That's not good. I mean, she's dead.
like all these things, right? It's a rebellion in anything. It's like if you look at Nazi Germany, right? The underground in France, or any underground, right? This is what these people are doing.
Just look how good this looks. It just looks so like again, it's a different Star Wars story, but it feels like it's in the universe, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they had the right little things that make you feel like it's part of the universe. You can buy into it, so that you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a Skywalker. It doesn't have to be a Wookiee. It doesn't have to be.
Yep.
We can still buy into the whole. That's how Rogue One worked because it felt like it was
Right.
It was in Star Wars universe, right? So
Right. and you can do something new without all those people, without crapping on those people.
Hey,
You know what I mean? Like
really?
everyone poo poos on Luke Skywalker. It's
You
like,
know, like
okay, well, he doesn't need to be in this, and it's fine. Like this road, like look at this scenery even here. It's a dam for God's sakes,
yeah.
and it looks awesome.
It just again, it's creating a world. This is where it feels very James Bond. The whole going down the dams. You know, like just
Yes.
everything has. Now, is that what's her name from the sequel trilogy? The one with glasses, the alien with glasses. Is
Oh
that
no, no,
her?
no, no! That's a different alien. I just wanted to say this. This looks like people escaping from a lab because they're
It
not
does.
wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Like I would say, oh, they're scientists, but they're not wearing shoes. See, they're all in bare
The-
feet. So,
Are they?
you
Oh,
know,
they
the
are bare feet. Yeah.
experimenting that the Empire, as we found out, like from the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and stuff like this,
Yeah.
the
Also the
scientists are
rebels.
experimenting.
Yeah.
Yes. So it looks like he was caught in there too. He was wearing a little pajamas. This doctor guy.
Oh,
It's
it's a
not.
doctor. It's not. It's not what's her name. Yeah, it's definitely a male.
Yeah, it
Oh, he's
looks
got
pretty
multiple
cool.
arms too. Yeah.
So I wonder what alien he is. Um, so yeah, rebellion. The rebellion begins.
See, that was
Just
very primitive.
everything.
There's a spear there. Got a spear there with war paint on.
And that could be when the Empire first came, and they're just like, oh,
Yeah.
going to go out and check it out.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and we can laugh about that, but the Ewoks beat the Empire with slings and bows and spears. So
And numbers and numbers.
and numbers.
I don't think back then they could do it just. I'm pretty sure they made that movie today. There'd be a lot more digital Ewoks out there to show the mass numbers, right? So
Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm getting off track, but they need to have an Ewok character in some show, like after the fact, like when
after Return of the Jedi, yeah, absolutely. I could have an Ewok. Some leave the primitive planet. Like they've been introduced to
right.
spaceships and blasters and stuff. It'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to see an Ewok somewhere down the line.
But there was a lot of stories about that some Ewoks left the planet
Yeah.
with them. I mean, one of the recent books, there was an Ewok slicer, like a hacker
Hmm.
as this team, and so would like hack into computers and stuff like that. It was an Ewok, and all the stories I've heard of Ewoks, some of them learn the English language or whatever they're speaking,
Hmm.
and but like not like we do. It's kind of like one or two words at a time.
Yeah, it would
Very
seem weird if
broken.
they spoke as good as us, right? It would seem really, really weird. Like a Wookiee can't speak English. I don't think an Ewok should be able to speak full English. It would have to be broken, I would think, for me to
Yeah,
believe it, sort of thing, right? But
no, definitely. One of the things before we went live, I was kind of showing you. I was like, okay, so we have the Andor poster and the Rogue One poster. So I mean, it feels like Rogue One, anyways. Um,
but
so
I was even commenting. Look how the characters are all slanted in that one direction, right?
yeah,
Like you have it starts big and they all work down, sort of thing. For the bigger characters down, it's just kind of cool.
and hers is the other way.
Yeah.
So, um, but it looks like, I mean, it was going to be again like we've always talked about, the intrigue and the kind of the underbelly of the Empire, the spy stuff. Like in Rogue One, Cassian was a spy. He was not a nice guy, or he at least did what he had to do. Whether he killed his own informant so he wouldn't get caught because he couldn't climb. Right? Remember, his arm was in a sling.
Compromising the situation. Like he was a liability, and what do you have to do? We have to keep we have to keep the greater good safe. So therefore, yeah, it was a tough
And,
thing he had to do, but he did it.
and even in our world, my oldest daughter and I were watching something, and it was some kind of something where the person was like a spy, and just like they just did these things, just killed a bunch of people, of their own people. And my daughter's like, would that really happen? I'm like, yeah, I bet you that happens all the time, right? Like there can't be any real trust in that world. Right? Like they got to
Eh,
do what they got to do to protect, and that's who you get those kinds of people that join, that can, just like Cassian was probably trained to be that, or the ideology was just so much over the decade or so, because he was like a kid, if that's him, till now. Um, yeah. But then he became a nice guy at the end, right, as he died on the
Yeah.
beach. So
It's funny. I've ever seen a video, a little sketch video where there was somebody there. It was a female. She was trying to train to be this big spy. So the final test for her to graduate, she would have to go into this room with a gun, and she would have to shoot the person inside the room. And so she
right.
walks in, and then you find out it's actually her husband. Somebody else comes out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was the person's wife, and I couldn't shoot my wife. I couldn't shoot my wife, so he didn't do it. So she comes in and she comes out. She's all done. It was her husband in there. It was. What do you mean it's all done? So well, I tried shooting him, but the gun, there was blanks in the gun, so I had to strangle him out. So the whole joke was she killed her husband anyway. The gun had blanks, so I just want to see if they're going to shoot him. Wouldn't actually die, but then the other blank, so I had to choke him out. So I thought it was kind of funny that
Wow.
but it's kind of interesting. They want this whole sketch with they want somebody who would kill their own spouse, right? So obviously they're dedicated to the government or the job or whatever it is. So that's we're kind of talking about that. Like maybe I don't live in the spy world, and I know they don't discuss it publicly, but you got to think if it's compromising something.
That's what they would do. It's not all clean like a James Bond movie. I'm sure it's what's the difference between organized crime and I guess there's a greater good, maybe. I guess I don't know. I couldn't be a Cassian Andor, so
I'm too nice of a person to. There's no way I could do anything like that. I work in TV. That's hard enough sometimes. So
do you know what I always say? I think I had this conversation when my kids were younger. It's like, would you be a Jedi? I'm like, well, if I was a Jedi, you guys wouldn't be around, because you give up all that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah.
there's no marriage except for Anakin.
And how well that turned out.
I know, too bad. You give up all that. And I said, oh, maybe we would just have like a ship like the Ghost from and just
Rebels.
travel around transporting stuff, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like sometimes I picture that, right? It's like, what would you do in that universe, right? Well, I wouldn't be a Jedi because then I couldn't have my wife and kids or this kind of stuff. I just think it's funny. So I just remember talking with my kids. We were kind of this big scenario of us being traders, going around and helping, just like what they were doing on Rebels, because we were watching it at the time, right? Helping the rebels when needed and just having a nice, safe life in the Star Wars universe, and not killing my informants because
That's a solid thing you're saying. Like
Yes.
I definitely would be more of that type of person too, or like the character from Obi-Wan. Remember the guy who's pretending he was a Jedi? He would actually help people, but he took a
Yeah,
profit. So I wouldn't even do that because I don't think I could do that. Like I'm not that dishonest to people, but but trying to help people. I think I'd try and help people best I possibly could.
definitely. And that would be the connection to the rebellion, right? It's like if I'm transporting stuff for them to get stuff, I mean, they would give me some credits, right, to help me out, and then you get it, whether it be guns for the rebels, so, whether that's good or not, they still need blasters, but food for like whatever people, like in Rebels, the episode, they were bringing food to this one colony because they were crushed by the Empire. So,
or even help people getting out of someplace, right? The Empire is closing in, that you try and get them out there. You try and help out people best you can. Help. Like I would like to try and make the galaxy a better place. Like I try and do here, I try and make the world a better place. Doing whatever I can. It's small, it's insignificant, but one little thing, you smile. Hey, good job. Hey, you're a great person. You try and do what you can to help make the world a better place.
Just without a cool ship like the Ghost or Falcon or that would be but it would be so but of course then my wife just thought the three of us were dorks and move on. But she did think it was cool that I wouldn't become a Jedi just because of not being able to be with her and the kids and stuff like that. So but it'd be cool. What if I was just like force sensitive? I think they would come for me, I think.
Well, hopefully, or they'll sell you out one or the other, right? Yeah.
So anyways, that was a weird side nerd moment, but so like out of all the shows, I think I said this offline at some point. Out of all the upcoming shows that were coming, save for The Mandalorian, this was the one I thought had the most potential. Like the Cassian Andor character had the most potential because of the stuff we saw him doing in Rogue One. You're like, ooh, he was probably naughty beforehand. So when they announced it, it's like there's going to be so much intrigue and spy and underground, and this is going to be awesome. And I, I, I really hope they don't do the big switcheroo. It's like Boba Fett, but um, he does nothing. It's like everyone
Yeah.
else and stuff. Because if that's the case, they're going to do. Because there's a few characters in there, like important characters, like Mon Mothma, who this is what I think is going to be. I think she's like, everything's fine. I'm a senator. Maybe there's something wrong. And then her friend finally says, look, I'm starting this rebellion. This is all crap. She then gets what maybe he's killed, and that brings her to the realization, and she takes over for him and goes on. Um, if that's the case, this show would have been best called Star Wars The Rebellion Begins or something. Star Wars Rebellion. And then you could just have the whole cast of characters. Unless they focus, like the main character focus is him with everyone else coming into it.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
would just be weird.
this is a stupid question, but I'm really bad with names. But where does Andor come from? Where it's called Andor. What's that?
Well,
What is
that's
Andor?
his name. His name is Cassian Andor.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I know it's
Yeah.
Cassian. I was calling Cassian Andor. Okay, got. I was wondering if
Yeah.
it's named after a place or something because there's so many characters. So I thought maybe it was a place or something. So that's why I was
Yeah.
confused. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize to anybody who is going to like, what, a Star Wars fan? I'm terrible with names, so I apologize.
He's got the best memory. He's remembering stuff from when we were 5. So
I can't remember names though, Steve. I know you
who
had a
cares
sister.
about the names?
Yeah, I think I remember your 2 sisters' names. I think I couldn't remember what your mom's name is, but I think I just ever called her Steve's mom, Steve's dad. I don't think I ever called him by name
Well,
or
no one
Mr.
ever.
Mr. or
Yeah,
Mrs. Fitch.
yeah. No one ever. You don't grow up calling your friends' parents by their
No,
name.
he's right. Good point.
That'd
Like
be
you would
very
never
weird.
say, yeah, hey Carol. You would never do that. You'd say, hey Mrs. Pratt or Mrs. Fitch or
Todd's mom.
Todd's mom. Hey
Uh,
Todd's mom.
it's funny because my oldest daughter, her and her 2 friends, call when they talk about like their parents or like me or us. They call me by my first name. Like my
Oh
daughter will
really?
say, "Oh, Steve was doing this the other day." The 3 of them do that with each other. I don't think all
Your
kids do that, but
your daughter refers to you as Steve?
when she's talking to her friends,
Really?
not all the time, but she'll say my dad, but then
Oh wow! I should ask my
if
kids if
they're
they do that.
if they're telling some like dad story, because dads are dorks or something, she'll be like, "Oh, Steve went out and did this." It's like, "Oh, okay." I found that out at the beginning of the school year that just passed. I'm like, "What?" And when she says that, when she's joking, if I'm bugging her and she's getting annoyed, she'll go, "Cut it out, Steve," or something like that. And it feels dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like she's swearing at me. I was like, "Ugh, don't ever do that."
It's weird.
I am
I'm not. Yeah, my kids have never. I've never heard my kids utter my name before. So
That is weird. That is weird. So, I just want to let me share the screen again. There was a couple of things I think we had talked about before. I'll bring this in. Bring the website in for
what a great
a
website.
view. It is very cool. Okay, so this is when we first got the trailer, and it was the Good Morning America that I think that they launched it there kind of first, and then it came out like a second afterwards. But Just thought I
Yeah.
had
Here
to
you have a
play
big
that.
announcement for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're very, very proud of the series. We've been working so hard, and we want to give the fans the most, you know. So I'm here to tell everyone that the series now will come out the 21st of September,
Soon.
and
Right.
we are making sure you get the most. So we're gonna deliver 3 episodes at once, you know, that day. That doesn't happen often in
Gonna
in
break the
Disney
internet
Plus.
that day. Right.
Yeah. And the idea is that fans get to see the full thing. You know, it will be horrible just to watch one episode and have to wait a week. With these 3 episodes, you'll get to meet all these new characters, these new planets. These it's gonna be amazing. I think it's gonna be worth to wait a little longer. And we have here the trailer, the official trailer for the first time. I really love it. So
take a look.
I can't wait to see it with you.
Cassian Andor. The Empire is choking us so slow.
I don't think we need to.
Yeah, it's a little bit shorter version, but that's so cool. I like
Streaming September 21st, only on Disney Plus.
So
like 3 episodes will really get people hooked right away, right? If you watch, the thing is, the whole thing with streaming, right? You watch one, oh, there's one more, right? So they're going to create a demand having 3 episodes. It's not even when they did Obi-Wan, they showed the first 2, right? It creates demand. You watch one, you watch the second one, you're, well, what's the third one? Then I like the fact. I wish more streaming services would just do one a week. I know it seems
yes,
weird, but I really feel it builds up the anticipation. I find I get more excited about it. Like the boys like once a week, and you're waiting. You're like, oh, you when the
Yeah.
Friday hits, oh, here's the new episode. You're really something to look forward to, right? I find that I
agree with
retain
that.
I find I retain the series better too when I slow it down. But binge watch it all, I just find it all gets kind of just all muddled into one big clump, right? So
I think
I
they're
like
learning that now, especially with like a new streaming service like Disney. Um, it's Netflix worked up to where they could just dump everything on and you
Yeah.
watch it, and then everyone is talking about it for a week, and then it disappears. I think they're starting to learn like maybe we should make it people every week, and it retains people. And you miss all that excitement from week to week. In between, everyone talks and speculates and wonders and has their theories, and it's right or wrong the next week, and that's all gone. I mean, at least the commercials are gone. People are like, oh, that's
Yeah.
old days. I just want to watch it all in the weekend, get it over with.
yeah.
But there's
Well,
like no patience.
So people can wait till after all. Like some of my friends are like they don't want to wait until
Yeah.
they'll wait till the series all finishes, then they'll watch it, right?
Yeah.
I like watching it. I like the excitement. I like building up. I like talking about it. To me, it creates more excitement. Like when Stranger Things, when they paused and left the last 2 episodes, like
Yeah.
there was so much talk about that, right? Like so much talk about it. And so I
It's true.
thought I think apparently my kids have been doing a lot of research. They said that next time Netflix releases Stranger Things, they're going to do one every week. That's what
Perfect.
they said. So and
Perfect.
I think that, and one thing when Star Wars has done, what Marvel has done on their Disney Plus, the one a week thing doesn't really, I don't think hurts them. I think they do 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Most of the series do 2 right away, so you jump in, you get into the story, and you're waiting for the next one, right? So
Yeah. I mean, when he says there's going to be 3 episodes, I mean, who knows, right? Each episode could be 22 minutes long, or like 22, 38 minutes, and like 43 minutes of stuff, right? You know how random it is, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But as a business model, especially now, like Netflix is probably thinking that way because they've lost a ton of stuff, right? Movie shows. I mean, they were like $480 a share. They're like, just over $100 a share now. Like they've
mhm.
dropped off, and they're losing a lot of stuff because all these streaming services are popping up. I mean, they lost all Lord of the Rings, they lost all Star Wars, they lost, you know what I mean, because it's going to the homes of new streaming services.
Yeah.
But I like the whole waiting a week, regardless. You're like, oh, cliffhanger, this sucks. It's like, man, plus I don't have the patience anymore. It's not fun to watch 10 episodes in a weekend, and then
It's a
that's it
lot.
for 6 months.
So that's why I find when Stranger Things first came out, I'm going, okay, like this new season, right? Like it's all like the first 6 episodes. I'm going, oh, like I didn't want to devote that much time to watching it right off. I knew I'd want to watch, and I just didn't want to do that, right? So
Right.
yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and I liked the fact that I had a break. I liked the fact that I've really enjoyed all the Star Wars series, the Marvel series, waiting that week. It just built up so much anticipation. The more you talk about it, creates more of a buzz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
social media, YouTube, you name it, everybody's talking about that series, whether it's Obi-Wan, whether it's Miss Marvel, whether it's Hawkeye, whether it's you know Andor is going to come out. Like they're all going to be talking about for a whole week speculating. People are making YouTube videos, theories, what's going to happen next episode, or they're breaking down that one episode that just aired, right? Like how many videos are there of that, right? Like there's so many. 25 things you missed in the last episode of Hawkeye, right? And
Right.
they're just talking about it over and over, and it creates a buzz. You want people talking about your series. You want 50 people doing
Right.
a different show about the series. It's all good press for them, right?
Right. And it sounded like when they first started doing that, just drop the whole season onto it. It was like cool, right? Like you think this is great. I don't have to wait. But now it's like there's just no fun for it, and it can't be a good model. They're actually seeing that now, a good business model, because then people watch their series and then cancel until it starts again. So now they suck you in for like the 20 episodes or whatever, and then bam, less than a few weeks later, a new Star Wars series starts up and blah blah blah, and they kind of space it out nicely, which is what they should be doing. But I at the same time, I would love to see, just even if they dropped it on Disney Plus, one shots of say Star Wars, one shots of Marvel, one shots of whatever, because the burnout's going to be happening. I think I was joking about this when we were kids. We'd go for 3 years without seeing anything else Star Wars, right? And there was no VHS tapes, at least in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they showed stuff on TV until The Empire Strikes Back days or Return of the Jedi. Like, no
Yeah,
Star Wars played on TV
yeah. No, I don't remember.
until, yeah,
I remember the first time Star Wars was on TV, and I videoed it, and it probably came out after Return of the Jedi. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
I think, no, because CBS did Empire Strikes Back, and it was a big deal. Mark Hamill hosted the launch of this on CBS. I think we did an article on that um, and it was CBS, I'm sure. CBS or ABC, ironically, because that's kind of the Disney.
I
Um,
think it makes more sense. It was ABC because I think ABC, Disney owns ABC, I believe, or it has rights to it. I'm pretty sure ABC is. So that's where the Wonderful World of Disney aired on ABC
right.
on Sunday
Uh,
nights.
it's I probably can't find it here on the site. Uh,
But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember when Star Wars was first on TV, it was a big, huge night, and I remember recording it. And I know it was
yes.
already out. I know it was already out on VHS. My friend had the trilogy. He says, "Why are you recording this? You can come over to my house and watch it anytime." I didn't have it on VHS, right? So
Right.
it was really important that I taped it, so I had it. My friend wanted me to go out with it. It was my friend Jason Hoare. He used to live right next to me. Maybe you don't know him, but yeah. So he was like,
Mm.
"Oh, come on out. Let's go do something." I said, "No, I got to watch this movie. I got to tape it." I had to take out the commercials. I had a little pause button so I could pause it for commercials.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, it was a big deal. I completely remember um, that on TV and how cool it was, right? Seeing Luke Skywalker, how he was in like a suit, like a
Yeah,
tuxedo, and it was all very very cool because we didn't get a lot of that. It's like even when we were kids watching the holiday special, we probably didn't realize how terrible it was. It was
no,
just
I remember
seeing
loving it.
Star Wars, yeah. We didn't understand any of the stuff. I wonder if adults did then. I wonder if adults were like, oh, people who would like Star Wars, because we're seeing like there's no celebrity that would do a big movie and then go on to a Christmas special playing their character
Yeah.
nowadays.
It was
Never do
unheard
that.
of. It was unheard of. But again, TV back then, the content wasn't great anyway. Like really,
Yeah,
writing was so. I think it just fed into what TV was back then. Nothing spectacular, right? Like TV's come so far, like in over the time span where story progression is happening, right? You look at X Files. X Files is the first one I can really think of that really Dynasty must have had something. I never watched that. It's more like a nighttime soap opera, right? But
Right.
X Files one had an ongoing storyline. It had little filler episodes, right? But you know, that started changing how TV was done. Really,
Mm.
have storylines that progressed season after season. Just wasn't one up. You watch any show of Emergency, no show really connects. It's just one and done, one and done. Nothing connects. Three's Company, one and done, nothing connects. Right, sort of thing. Right. So
Yeah. No, that's
like
very true.
where there's no progression, sort of thing. Right. So this is where this we're like entertainment. TV has never been better than what it is right now. Never. Like look at the special effects they're spending on TV shows now, right? Never would
Exactly.
happen. Would never happen. Hercules, remember back when Hercules came out, with the Kevin Sorbo stuff and Xena.
Yeah,
Like I remember those special. Oh well, look at those special effects. For TV, they were amazing, but nowadays you're like, that's just
I
crap,
know. It's
right?
terrible.
But
Yeah, I
the
think
thing
that
is,
that TV is matching movies now.
it is. Well, you look what what Disney's pumping into the Star Wars thing. Look how good that trailer looked. Look how good Obi-Wan looked. Looked how good,
Yeah,
like you look at the Bad Batch. Like look how good that animation's
the
progressed
animated.
from Clone Wars, right? Like
Mhm.
there's like Clone Wars is Clone Wars, but now everything has texture. The lighting's so much better. Like everything looks a lot more cinematic now, right? Like it just everything goes up and up because there's fan expectations. What was good in the 90s or 2000s, early 2000s is not acceptable nowadays, right?
Right. The animation is for sure. Like I'm watching the Clone Wars now, slowly getting through it, and in my head going into it, I said, "This is old." Right, and I knew the animation was going to look that way. And you go from watching the Bad Batch or even Rebels
Rebels, yep, even
to
Rebels.
the Clone Wars, and it's like it's just a progression um, of the animation studio. And this is another thought I had. Um, for like easy Star Wars content, right? Like even the one-offs. And I think the easiest and probably cheapest way to go, and has always had the best stories, is the animation part of Lucasfilm, right? Like Filoni and that team have always knocked it out of the park with the animation. So I think if there's any burnout happening or any controversy or nonsense going on or any confusion, I think that Lucasfilm should maybe start thinking more about what Dave Filoni can do with the animation. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it just, and it's looking so good. Like you said, Bad Batch looks so good.
Some people just won't. Some people just won't watch animation because it's cartoons. You know what I'm saying? They just won't watch it
That's
because it's
weird.
animation. They won't take it seriously, or they don't know it's all fits in the same timeline or storyline, right? They think it's something totally different, or they think it's for kids, right? Um, I just don't people think people. I think Simpsons has helped, Family Guy's helped, like those type of shows have really helped animation
Right.
get accepted more often, right?
Right. Right.
Pixar's another one really helped accept animation, but again, I still think people look at a Star Wars animated shows like, oh, that's for kids, right? But you look at Rebels. I'm like your Rebels, Clone Wars, like the storylines are deep, emotional stories. Like especially the end of season 3, coming into season 4 for
Yeah.
Rebels. Like
Yeah.
some really deep character development stories that are emotional, that really
Mhm.
like really touch you. I was like, wow, like the characters. That's why I find the
Right.
characters in season 3 really leap and bounds. Like how they develop so much and how much
Yeah.
impact there is on the storyline and how it really paints Rebels really paints a really good picture of how the rebellion started, sort of thing. Again, I'm just saying, if you haven't watched Rebels, you should. Okay, it's amazing.
It is really great. It even started to be less kiddie after the first season, I think. I
Yeah.
think it even changed then. And of course, third season and on, it's just like these are epic stories. And this is the other thing. Oh God, I don't know what season this happened, so I'm not going to say anything because you haven't gotten there. But um, Filoni is going to change something that was made canon in that show. He's going to screw with the canon to put it into the Ahsoka series. So I was like, oh, there's that canon thing. I don't think there's much care about canon anymore.
Mhm.
That's why I think my theory, within 10 to 15 years, they're going to reboot the OT to make it fit with what they've been doing. You watch. You think I'm crazy. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. They're going to redo A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. I could be wrong. 10 to 15 years.
Why would they?
Because I mean,
Why would they redo those ones? Those ones don't need fixing. The ones they need to fix are the sequel trilogy. That's what they need to fix. That's what they need to fix. Not the past. Don't change the past. Fix the future.
Well, yeah. I'll talk to you more about that offline, but yeah. So, but anyways, with that, man, I'm
September
looking
21st.
forward. September 21st. That was the date. I'm so looking forward to this one. In Rogue One, Cassian was my favorite.
That'd be a busy podcast right after that one.
Oh,
See, he wasn't my favorite. That's why I wasn't too excited about the series. Like, he was not my favorite character. I know he was your favorite character. He was not my favorite character in that show, in that movie. Sorry. So I was like, okay, whatever. Making Andor. Oh, really? Making Andor? Okay. I wasn't excited, but even I heard about Obi-Wan, I wasn't that excited about it. When I saw the trailer, like, okay. Like, Jen was crazy about Obi-Wan. I was like, okay. And then I bought, like, I am really looking forward to this. It looks really, really good. Again, they always have me at Stormtroopers. So,
there's lots in there. Yeah. That was the other reason why I showed that GMA clip. I love actors that you could tell are really passionate about what they're playing in the character and the project, and not just collecting a check. I mean, there's a check, but he seemed, even back when they first showed clips or was first announced, he seemed so jazzed about doing this show and getting back into Cassian Andor, and it makes me have hope for it.
Like, he's not, quite frankly, as an actor, you want a good paying job, right? Sort of thing. Like, I haven't seen him in a lot of movies. I haven't seen him in a lot of movies after Rogue One. I'm sure he is, because obviously he's not North American by his accent, so I'm sure he's really busy in the country he's from. But you're not getting Star Wars money. As an actor, you're pretty happy with that, right? Sort of thing. Like,
right.
And of course, and if you love Star Wars, you like Star Wars, who wouldn't we want to be part of the universe, right? Like, Samuel Jackson wants back in, right? How many times do you hear that all the time? He wants back in.
There's always that theory. I'm sure there's literature out there that Mace Windu lives, right?
If Darth Maul didn't die, I think Mace Windu, a little bit of electric shock out the window. Come on. We've seen Anakin jump out of a freaking space car, and land another one. Why couldn't he save himself? You know what I'm saying? I think it's more realistic to have Mace Windu come back than Darth Maul. Because Darth Maul is kind of cut in two. And, I know he's an alien, so maybe his vital organs weren't there, but Mace Windu, I think, survived what happened to him.
Well, he's been very open about that. Yeah, he would come back in a second. So I'm sure they know.
He wants, again, and he's the type of guy, like, sure, he's going to collect a check, but come on, when he does his stuff, he puts everything into it. Like, I watched Snakes on a Plane, a terrible movie, but he put everything into Snakes on a Plane.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
It was so bad.
If they want to change the name of the movie, because you can't change the name of the movie. I only signed on to this movie because it's called Snakes on a Plane, right? So,
they had the best promo for that, where you could send voicemail to people, like, or call. I had him call my wife.
Did you really?
It was so funny. Like, my wife answers the phone, and it's like, Lisa, and she's like, yeah. Goes, are you gonna go see Snakes on a Plane? She's like, what? It's like, this is Sam Jackson. It's starting this weekend, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what's going on here? And then it was so cool because I sent that to everyone I knew.
Oh,
I was
really?
just sending it because you could pick the name.
Yeah.
Like, there was a list of names. Oh, it was so fun. And she knew right afterwards. I mean, she called me at work, and I'm already laughing. It was the best thing ever. And I was so sad when they stopped it.
That was awesome. I remember seeing that promo for it, sort of thing, and I remember Samuel Jackson talking about it. But but again, somebody who wants back in, right? So I'm sure there's lots of people who want back in. Maybe not Harrison Ford. He came back, but like,
they can't afford him.
And then the guy who played Finn doesn't sound like he wants to come back.
He's done.
I've heard the Ray would like to come back, or there's talk of her.
Really? Yeah.
I can't remember her name. I read it somewhere, but again,
Daisy Ridley.
Thank Daisy Ridley. See,
Yeah.
terrible with names. I'll never forget her face. Might never remember her name. Like Dave Prowse. That's the guy who played Darth Vader, right? Dave Prowse. Is that his name? Dave Prowse.
Yes. Yeah.
See, I'm just trying. Even though the actor, I can't remember everybody's name. The big three I know. I can't remember. Anthony Daniels plays C-3PO. R2D2 is Kenny.
Yeah. Well, he
Kenny,
can't come back anymore. Yes. What
right?
was his
So
name? Baker. Anyways, yes.
yeah, so I'm not very good at names, but I never forget a face.
So yeah, looking forward to this series. I think there's so much potential that can happen from this, especially if they stay on track and really use. If they could stay gritty like Rogue One, like what the trailer looks like, it'll be really cool, like an old, World War II movie.
Well, you get a sense of that sort of thing. They didn't show a lot of epic ship battles and stuff like that they did at the end of Rogue One, but it definitely has a feel to it, right? That whole
Yeah.
the damn scene reminded me of GoldenEye when Pierce Brosnan's going down the side, doing the whole. Again, it just looked
Yes.
really cool. It looks intense. Andor's he's up in space in the ship, and there's TIE fighters around, and there's explosions. It just looks so good, so good, so
I'm
good, so
I'm
good.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and be sure to check us out at StarWarsReporter.com. Follow us on social media, and please like and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you next time on the podcast. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Steve.